approach the work. You'll go into one reception type area, then through into the sort of like the corridors, where you'll be drawn to a hole in the wall, through which you'll look, and then you'll see this mirrored desert. So in a sense, this landscape mirrors to infinity. When you walk around, you'll just be met by the same scene in each cube. You know, everybody likes to sort of trespass into spaces they're not meant to go into somehow, and that sort of just curiosity of what lays beyond the door or down a corridor, it's quite strong in many people, I think, and I think that sense, sort of like, you almost forget that that sort of rather, I'm in an art gallery, I'm looking at art, kind of I have to think about it in a certain way. I have to be sort of like, is sometimes lost when you're in those replicated spaces. So the larger, more sort of like labyrinthine kind of built set-like works, you become the sort of the player, and your body and movement, I suppose, activates, and decisions within those spaces activates the work itself. And in that sense, I think you actually start to forget you're looking at art sometimes. I suppose I've described it before as being almost like when you read a book and so you read Patrick O'Brian book on the high seas, and if you're into that, then sort of like suddenly you're in your armchair, but you're on the high seas in whichever century it's set in, sort of. And if you agree to sort of like go along with that fiction, then you do somehow, and you're transported. And I think with the more successful large labyrinthine ones, which try to equate literary or narrative space or structure into a spatial structure, that can happen with people. Obviously, these really huge ones I build and then they're demolished. So there's a huge amount. Often it takes longer to build them than they're actually up for. So which is kind of slightly perverse ultimately. But then if it's done in a very visible place and many people visit, then obviously the memories of that work are dispersed all around the place. And I still have people who actually sort of describe spaces that they thought they'd been in, which were mine, which weren't, because their memory somehow has annexed sort of their own experience into the experience of going into one of the found spaces, which is kind of a success, I think, of sorts. In every work I've made, every piece of wood that you can see, and every object has been sourced and found, by me. Not I don't send a load of people out in vans to go and collect it and just say, I want a bunch of this or a bunch of that. I wander around and to the salvage yards and to the markets and find it and make sure that that's what I want for that particular space or place. It's an interesting life, but even though half the time I spend it as a builder, but I look like a builder and I behave like a builder, sort of to some degree, but ultimately, sort of my head doesn't know that. My head's somewhere else.